Alrighty. Hopefully it is properly working. It seems like we always have trouble figuring out if it's actually live streaming or not, but we'll figure that out later if it looks really dumb. Let me see if I can double check if it is. Okay, yes, it should be properly live streaming. Okay, as the title suggests, today we are going to be doing the cringy thing and reading my Warrior Cats fanfiction. It is not done, but we'll probably get through like the first 3 or so chapters, maybe. Maybe. I don't think I've done 4 yet. I can't remember. But we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Let me swap back over to my official. There we go, there's my mouse. Okay. And if you guys have any stories that you would like me to read that you've done, feel free to send them in the chat. I am always up to read your guys' Warrior Cats fan fictions, even if they're cringy. Do be aware that if you do make a comment or send one in, it'll have a little bit of fun poked at it, but it's nothing too serious. We're just here for fun, maybe a bit of voice acting. We're just here to have a good time. But this is my story. It's called Curse Stars. Hang on, let me get one drink of water before I start talking for an hour. Okay, there we go. Okay. I'm going to skip the summary because we don't really need to worry about that too much. Let me see. Start reading. Okay. We're going to skip over the characters page as well because that's just a list of a whole bunch of names and we don't need to worry about that. So we'll get to know the characters as we go. Okay. Prologue. Dark storm clouds slowly rolled over the sky on a dreary morning. Steadily, rain pelted down over the moors of the Wind Clan's territory. As it pattered onto the ground, it caused the dirt to slowly turn into mud, caking any cat's paws who dared walk outside the camp. And as clouds dumped their rain onto the land below, a slow fog started to roll over the hills, adding to the dreary atmosphere of the day. I am going to be doing commentary too, again, poking fun at my own work here. But I already love the atmosphere I set up. I forgot how serious it got. Okay. Cutting through the constant patter of rain came a drumming of paw steps as they rushed towards the camp, a low-cut ditch carved into the moors of the many hills. Here lied the home of WindClan. Nests were built into small caves, and brush surrounded the hills, keeping it somewhat nestled, though it didn't stop all the rain from pattering in. Grousefur! A horrid call of despair filled the camp as the cat rushed down the muddy hill. Into the camp. I should probably fix that. I probably shouldn't say into the camp twice. It's fine. The call quickly drew eyes and ears towards the entrance. Swiftpaw was panting as she rushed towards the medicine cat den, not sparing any glances to the clanmates whispering around. Grousefur! The older Tom grumbled as the apprentice barged into his den. She's coming in full fucking speed. She said, get out of my way. The older Tom grumbled as the apprentice barged into his den. Really, it was too early for all this shouting. He doesn't care at all. Quit your screaming, Mousebrain. I'm right here for StarClan's sake. Grousefur slowly turned to look at the panicked apprentice. What's got you yowling like a fox so early in the morning? Good, good. I like the fox metaphor, but not metaphor. You know what I mean. Words. We will manage words eventually. But I like how grumpy I made him. Do Eyes, Swiftpaw managed to gasp out, first standing on edge. She's giving birth! Little Breeze stayed with her. Out of camp! Hurry! The apprentice jittered anxiously, glancing back multiple times towards the camp exit. They needed to go. She's like, get off your butt, you lazy guy. Grousefur paused for a second before a slew of curses escaped his maw. Do cats curse? I don't know, but he had told the queen to stay in camp, despite the fact that she had protested to staying still for so long. And now, of course, she was out when giving birth. The Tom moved to his stores of herbs to quickly grab a few, then joining the apprentice. Let's go. Swiftpaw wasted no time in turning around and racing out of the camp. leaving the older medicine cat to try to keep pace as they raced across the moor. Fog parted in their wake, stirring up in slow swirls and trailing after them. It took no time t- it took no time to get to the tall rock planted steady in the dirt, its small overhang sheltering two cats. "It's okay, dear. Just breathe," Little Breeze murmured soft assurances to his mate, ears perking as Swiftpaw rushed back with Grouse Fur shortly behind. "Move!" the medicine cat hisses so the duck. He said, "Get out of the way." The medicine cat hisses at the top so he could get close to do his work. Then we got a little time skip right here. Dew Eyes breathed heavily as their new kit nestled at her side. A tiny thing with bright white fur just like her father's. "They're so cute," Swiftpaw cooed from where she sat close by, Little Breeze nodding to confirm. "They are perfect, my love. What do you want to name them?" A soft hum escaped Dew Eyes as she looked down to her kit, heavy fog swirling around the group. Foggy Kit. Grasper rolled his eyes. He's like, "I don't care that you just gave birth. Like, stop being cringy." Grasper rolled his eyes as he carefully packed up the few leftover herbs he hadn't needed, rising to his paws as he glanced out over the moor. The way they had come from was clogged with fog now, the rain having turned their paw steps into a muddy mess that couldn't be traced. Slowly, the fog curled, and for a moment, Grasper paused. I put slowly here again. I need to change that as well. I'm using the same words too often. Slowly, the fog parted slightly, revealing two bright white eyes. They held the stare for a moment before blinking, shifting their gaze. Grousefur felt the fur on his spine raise quickly as he followed their gaze. The kit. His breathing stuttered as he stared at Foggy Kit, the fog curling tighter around the group. Suddenly felt suffocating against Grousefur's flank. Well, you are an old man, Grousefur, so maybe that's just your age catching up to you. His chest tightened. See, he's gonna have a heart attack, I swear. His chest tightened as more eyes appeared in the corners of his vision, staring at the kit. Slowly, the grass wilted underneath the small white fluff ball, flowers drooping as it spread out further. And from the fog surrounding him, Grousefur heard whispers he couldn't quite comprehend. "Los predio serpens, nolit ellos." Foggykit shifted to lift their head, pink eyes slowly opening to stare daggers right at the Tom as all the white eyes slowly turned to look back at him. Grousefur gasped in a breath, blinking his eyes as the fog suddenly retreated. And just like that, it was as if nothing happened. No wilting plants, no eyes in the fog. The kit hadn't even moved or opened their eyes, just breathing softly. He's having hallucinations, I'm telling you. It's a heart attack. He's not gonna make it. Swiftpaw glanced up at the Tom as his ragged breathing filled the air, nervously shuffling over to him. "Are you all right, Grousefur?" The she cat's small voice made him blink before he scoffed. "Ugh, whatever," and looked away from the kit. "I'm fine." Despite his insisting, though, Grousefur couldn't get his own fur to stop standing on end. Something was very wrong. "Let's just help them back to camp," he decided after a moment. "Right." Swiftpaw nodded and moved to help Little Breeze steady his mate as the whole group slowly left the rainy moor behind for the warmth of the clanmates in the camp. And that's our prologue done. We made it through the prologue. Excuse me, Jesus. Okay, chapter 1. The air was still that day, the sun casting warm rays across the grasslands of the moor. Without the sharp wind to carry away scents, it was rather easy to track the smell of mouse over the rolling hills. Foggy stepped, breathed in slowly, making sure she was heading in the right direction. Not that I can't talk today. Oh my god. Okay, try again. Foggy Step breathed in slowly, making sure she was heading the right way, and crouched down. Even with her awful vision, she could still see just a few paw steps in front of herself. Brain, please work. Oh my god. Okay, just barely enough to confirm the tiny mouse tracks in the dirt. She continued her way over the hill while following the scent as it slowly got stronger, until finally she heard it, the tiny squeaks and shuffling of the mouse as it moved through the grass. Foggy stepped slowly crouched down. even though wasn't she already crouched? Yeah, she already crouched down. Oh my god. So she double crouched down. She's super low to the ground now. Foggy Step slowly crouched down, her tail falling still as she focused all her energy onto the mouse a couple paw steps ahead. With a strong push of her legs, the she-cat was launching through the air. Claws met flesh as the mouse squeaked a final breath. Foggy Step carefully picked it up in her maw, a satisfied feeling washing over her. It wasn't a huge prey, but it was something. Turning around, she followed her own scent back to the camp. She's got a very good nose, you guys. See, we're determining this. She already tracked down the mouse, and now she's from what I understand, she's blind, so she's going all the way back to camp. The bustle of chatter reached her ears first as she carefully climbed down the slope into the camp. Two of the apprentices rushed past her while laughing as they quickly left her field of vision to go cause some chaos. Foggy Step squinted. She's, I can't, you can't really just see my face because I don't have a face. She's squinting. Okay. Foggy Step squinted as they went and carefully walked through the familiar space of the clearing, dipping her head to a few of her other clanmates before making it to the prey pile to carefully plop her mouse down. For once, the day seemed peaceful. And then a chipper voice broke the calm. Foggy Step! The albino she breathed in as she turned her gaze down to one of the apprentices who had come running back her way. Their face was fuzzy, but being this close to each other meant Foggy Step could barely make out some of their features. Pale white fur with large gray stripes and bright yellow eyes that shone with eagerness. What is it, Tiger Paw? Foggy Step questioned them with a calm demeanor. I think I spelled demeanor wrong there. That clashed with the bubbly apprentice. It's Sunstar! Tiger Paw beamed about their leader, bouncing up and down a little. They wanted to see you in their den. That made Foggy Step pause for a moment. Sunstar wanted to see her? Her tail flicked with unease as she questioned, What for? Dunno, Tiger Paw shrugged. He said, That's not my fucking problem. You go figure it out. Dunno, Tiger Paw shrugged, turning when he heard the other apprentice calling for him to hurry back to their game of tossing a moss ball around. I'm coming! Tiger Paw laughed and raced away from the warrior, leaving Foggy Step to her confused thoughts. Foggy Step stood still as her thoughts brewed in her head. The leader wanted to see her. Why? She hadn't done anything wrong, nor nothing that stood out notably. So why would she be summoned? The shadow of a bird passed overhead, snapping her back into focus as she turned to slowly pad to the leader's den, a narrow, deep tunnel next to the tall rock that was surrounded by lush shrubs. Ducking down into the tunnel, shadows enveloped her as the warrior carefully made her way down until the tunnel opened up into the small space of a den. Sunstar, you wanted to see me? Foggy Step asked into the. I need to fix her name there because it's spaced out. It needs to be together. Foggy Step asked into the cold den air. Yes, the leader's voice was strong as she sat up in her nest, amber eyes locking onto the albino warrior in front of her. Sit down. Foggy Step shifted a bit again before carefully taking a seat and wrapping her tail over her paws, ears perked expectantly at whatever her leader had to say. Sunstar was quiet for a few moments while observing the warrior before starting to speak again. Questioning again. I put the warrior twice. I need to stop repeating words. I need to go back and fix that later. Questioning the warrior. You remember Grousefur, yes? Grousefur, yes, our medicine cat, Foggy Step answered, a bit of confusion showing on her face. The whole clan knew who their medicine cat was, but especially Foggy Step, since she had been to him many times during her early kit days to get her eyes checked. Sunstar nodded once before continuing. You may have heard the rumors around camp, and to my disappointment, they are true. Grousefur has been missing for quite some time now, and there's been no traces of him. As you can imagine, this is very troublesome for our clan as we cannot operate without a medicine cat. Foggy Step's frown grew a bit more as she listened to Sunstar explain about the missing medicine cat, being quiet for a long moment before slowly asking, So, why are you telling me this? She does not want the drama, Sunstar. She's like, I'm just trying to catch my mouse and have a good day. Silence fell over the den before there was a deep sigh. You're going to be the new medicine cat, Sunstar stated finally, the words settling heavy in the air. What? Foggy Step's voice came out a bit. I need to fix that too. That's supposed to be a bit louder than she intended, though the panic across her face was clear. I can't be medicine cat. I don't know anything about herbs. I'm a warrior, Sunstar. She rambled her words quickly. Enough. Sunstar's firm voice cut off the albino cat, creating a forced quiet in the den once more. Out of everyone in the clan, you are the one best fitted to take this role. Your eyesight has almost fully failed you, and this is the only way you will be of use to this clan. But Foggy Step tried to speak again. Sunstar stood, growling lowly. This isn't up for debate, Foggy Step. You'll figure this out. That's an order. Foggy Step blinked as she felt Sunstar brush past her to leave the den, the tip of the leader's tail flicking Foggy's spine to make her straighten up, caused the fur on her flank to rise as she was left alone in the den, with nothing but the sound of her own panicking breaths. And then she heard the call outside the den. All cats old enough to run the moors, gather below the tall rock for a clan meeting. It echoed across the camp, drawing warriors and apprentices of the like to come sit and mumble to each other with ideas about what this meeting was about. The eager buzz only died down with a glance from the deputy, the large Tom giving space for their leader to speak. Eyes turned to look up at Sunstar. I can't talk. Oh my god, that is not the words. Eyes turned up as Sunstar took a seat, tail draping over the edge of the rock. All right, everyone, settle yourselves. Today we will be discussing a few things. First of all, Owlpaw stepped forward. Let's see. The apprentice paused as eyes turned to him, the look on his face neutral, though his eyes were alight with pride in himself. Carefully, the apprentice stood up and squeezed past his clan. He said, "Get out of the way. I'm trying to have my ceremony." The apprentice squeezed past his clanmates to stand in front, looking up to his leader. You've reached the age of a warrior, Sunstar started, turning her gaze to one other warrior. Mallard's Song. You have trained Owlpaw and have watched him grow. You've judged him on his final test. Do you believe he is ready to take on this new responsibility? Mallard's Song hummed and looked to her apprentice, watching his tail twitch ever so slightly with nervousness. She then dipped her head and looked back to her leader. I do believe he is ready, Sunstar. Right. Sunstar looked back to the apprentice. You have shown your mentor and this clan that you are ready. I say these words before the skies above so that all of StarClan will hear. From this moment on, you will be known as Owlheart. May your loyalty to this clan never dim. Quickly, the gathering of cats started to cheer for the new warrior, paws drumming on the ground as Owlheart sat tall with pride. Tonight you will sit in vigil to watch over the clan, but for now you may rejoin everyone. Sunstar nodded her head and watched Owlheart go sit back with the other warriors before she spoke again. I have one more important topic to discuss. As many of you have noticed, Grousefur has been missing for quite some time. No scent of him has been found by patrols, and no sightings have been reported. We cannot wait forever for him to return. She said, forget the old medicine cat. We're getting a new one. Like, this guy can go die. A slew of hushed whispers echoed through the gathered cats before being silenced once more by Karmaclaw's stare. Sunstar grunted. So, in his absence, I have chosen a new cat to step up into his role and tend to the clan's needs. Foggy Step. Eyes followed where Sunstar was can't talk. Eyes followed where Sunstar was looking as Foggy Step heard her name called, her ears low as she slowly made her way out of the leader's den. Quickly, her clanmates called her name in congratulations, though Foggy Step felt no wave of joy for this job she was forced to take. Her steps were slow as she, again, repeating words, slow and slowly. I need to fix that. Her steps were slow as she slowly made her way up to the front of the crowd, tilting her head up towards the leader. Sunstar stared down at her, a firm gaze that created tension around the tall rock. Her voice came again, though it was harsher now by a fraction. I say these words before the skies above so that all of StarClan will hear. From this moment on, you will be known as WindClan's medicine cat. May StarClan guide your sight to help those in need. May StarClan guide your paws. The cheers grew louder around Foggy Step, fading in and out quickly as her breathing quickened. Please, dear StarClan, this couldn't really be happening. Foggy Step blinked a few times as her claws dug into the dirt, feeling Sunstar's stare burning into her pelt. She couldn't. Meeting dismissed. See Karmaclaw for midday patrols. The shout broke her from her panic. Paw steps quickly filling the space as the clan parted away to go back to taking care of camp business or getting a patrol order. No one else seemed to care about what had already been decided. Sunstar really said, "You're taking this job and you don't get a say about you're gonna deal with the consequences of this." Poor Foggy Step. Okay, let's see. Chapter 2. Hang on, I'm gonna get one drink of water again real quick. Okay, there we go. Okay. Foggy Step slowly stepped into the medicine cat den, or, well, rather her den now. The scent was musty and stale. Old herbs were slowly rotting on the small rocky shelves, being the source of one of the strong herbal scents. A small pool of water sat in the corner of the den, a few nests on the far right for the den. Oh my god, please, words. Let me try that again. A small pool of water sat in the front corner of the den, a few nests on the far right of the den for patients, and way in the back of the den, nestled in some old leaves of a little bit of shrub that had been trying to grow, was a large nest just for the medicine cat. Foggy Step breathed out for a moment before her body found movement, slowly padding further into the den to investigate the herbs left abandoned on the shelves. The green color had faded from most of them, and the pungent smell was only stronger when closer. She scrunched her nose a bit at the smell. How was she even supposed to know what these herbs did? Her thoughts didn't last too long as she was interrupted by a voice. Oi, Foggy Step. She jolted a little as she turned her head to look at who had entered the den. One Smoky Tom and one Darkfur Tom. Oh, Suncloud, Darkleap, what can I help you with? Foggy Step fumbled with her words a bit, trying to act like how Grousefur used to whenever Foggy Step and her parents would visit him. Karma Claw has asked us to come collect some herbs for you, Sunny Cloud explained calmly, taking a gander around the old den. It was rough. I didn't realize how bad it was in here since Grousefur's sudden departure, Sunny Cloud addressed the darker furred Tom. Darkleap grumbled a bit as his eyes bleh, Darkleap grumbled a bit as his eyes narrowed at the look of the herb shelves. It was gross to see all the rotting herbs. His sharp gaze then narrowed on the albino she-cat. So what herbs do you need exactly? Oh, Foggy Step turned her head to the side, squinting her eyes at the rotting herbs. StarClan, she didn't even know the names of most of these herbs. Her tail twitched nervously before she spoke again. I think some cobwebs and Chervil, she decided on the two herbs she did know the name of. Darkleap watched the new medicine cat fumble nervously, his tail swishing to the side as he moved his gaze back to Sunny Cloud. Surely the other had to be thinking the same thing as him. This was ridiculous. Sunny Cloud met. I'm laughing at that. He's not happy. Sunny Cloud met Darkleap's glance, but didn't seem as bothered. Any medicine cat was better than none in his eyes. As you wish, Foggy Step. We will be back soon. Sunny Cloud dipped his head and turned, padding out of the den while being followed by Darkleap. Foggy Step breathed out as she was left alone once more. This was embarrassing! How was she supposed to know what all these herbs did? This pressure was too much for her. She turned back to the herb shelf, frowning deeply, but getting to work nonetheless. Scraping together the rotten herbs, Foggy Step picked them up in a tight bunch and carried them in her maw as she dipped out of her new den. The camp wasn't as loud as earlier, with the patrols having been sent out. Foggy Step carefully climbed the hill back out of camp, making sure to pad a bit away from the entrance before finding a bush to dump the rotten herbs in. Gross, she grumbled as she shook her muzzle a little bit to try to get the taste out of her mouth. How was Grousefur ever able to deal with this all this time? If constantly having to clear out old herbs was what was in store for her, then Foggy Step dreaded this new role even more. Turning back the way she came, Foggy Step re-entered the camp and returned to her new den, only to be caught off guard by a bubble of excitement all over again. So this is your new den? It's so big! Tigerpaw beamed as he curiously explored, poking his nose into every corner to look around. Foggy Step took a breath before softly asking, Tigerpaw, what are you even doing in here? Shouldn't Heronflight be training you? Where was the apprentice's mentor anyway? Tigerpaw lifted his head to look at her before shuffling his paw. Heronflight got sent on border patrol. Something about RiverClan having sent too close to something. She didn't want me to come along because I'm too inexperienced for border patrols yet. A sigh escaped the apprentice. Tigerpaw is not having it. He's like, I want to go on patrol, and his mentor's like, nah, you gotta stay in camp, homie. You don't get any fun. Someday, Tiger Paw, someday you'll go on patrol. I believe in you. Okay. Foggy Step frowned a little at the young Tom's explanation. Sure, Tiger Paw was only recently made into apprentice, but how was he supposed to learn if his mentor didn't bother to take him along out of camp? See, Foggy Step gets it. She's like, you gotta take him with you, or you're not gonna learn anything. After a moment of deciding, Foggy Step offered, well, maybe you can help me in here? Tiger Paw's ears perked up instantly at the offer. Yeah, I want to help. He didn't seem fazed by the fact it was not warrior training work. Foggy Step found herself smiling a little at the Tom's enthusiasm and nodded. All right, why don't you help me clear out all these old leaves and moss? We'll give this den a fresh start. She padded past the apprentice to get further into the den once more, using her tail to start sweeping some dust from the corners. And then we got a little time skip here. Good work, Tiger Paw. Foggy Step smiled as they finished clearing out the last of the mess, listening to the apprentice bounce around and talk excitedly before her ears caught another noise. Paw steps. Her hazy gaze turned back to the entrance of the den as the two warriors returned from their herb gathering trip. Sunny Cloud glanced at the apprentice as he entered the den, an amused look crossing his face before his gaze returned to the she-cat. Carefully, he set down the branches covered in cobwebs. Sorry it took some time. A snake decided that it wanted to guard the cobwebs for what felt like forever. A chuckle escaped him while Darkleaf just rolled his eyes and dropped the chairbowl to the ground rather ungracefully. I assume it caused you no real trouble. Foggy Step smiled a little as well. Thank you both. Her head turns toward Tigerpaw, and she flicked her tail. You should go get some rest too, Tigerpaw. I can handle the rest of this on my own. Thank you for helping with the cleanup. You're welcome. Tigerpaw beamed again as he bounced out of the den happily, followed by Sunnycloud. Darkleap lingered around. Can't talk. Okay, try it again. Darkleap lingered for a moment, silently staring at the small she-cat before finally grunting as he turned and made his way out of the den to go rest for the night. A silence fell over the den again as Foggy Step carefully picked up the bundle of charcoal first, bringing it to the stone nooks and laying it on the chosen shelf. She then fetched the sticks covered in cobwebs and also found a spot to put them that she would remember. Maybe tomorrow she would go out and try to find some berries. What were they called again? Juniper? Foggy Step vaguely recalled some old memory of being curled up in a nest while squinting at her father, listening to Grousefur grumble an explanation to an elder about berries helping with the cough. Yeah, Juniper tomorrow. A silence slowly fell over the camp as the warriors settled down for rest, and the apprentices snuggled into their nest. Foggy Step felt odd settling into her fresh moss nest. The den was quiet, without any other warriors here, and too cold. She frowned and curled her tail around herself, resting her head down and slowly closing her eyes. And then we got another little time skip. Foggy Step slowly blinked open her eyes, pausing as she was greeted by a warm field full of lush bushes. This was definitely not her den. Slowly, she stood up, shaking her pelt out before glancing around. The sky above was bright blue with no clouds. A faint breeze carried the scent of something sweet further ahead. Foggy Step hesitated before starting to walk, trailing after where the sweet smell was coming from. It led her down a faint path dug into the ground from many moons of travel, the bushes still thick and keeping the path enclosed, almost hidden entirely from outside view. However, the path widened shortly into a small clearing. Foggy Step slowly climbed down the small hill into the clearing, looking to the bush that sat right at the center. It was covered from top to bottom in bright red berries, rowan in color. Foggy Step tilted her head a little as she approached, scrunching her nose a bit. The closer she got, the stronger the smell, very pungent. Reaching a paw out, she slightly nudged one of the berries with her claws, and suddenly the sky grew dark above her, a crack of thunder accompanied by a flash of lightning as rain started to pour down suddenly. And then we got another time skip. Let's see. Foggy Step woke with a gasp, her fur standing on end. What a horrid dream! She breathed shakily as she calmed back down slowly, though she jolted again at the paw steps entering her den. Alhart didn't speak at first as he entered the den, having heard the sharp gasp cutting through the quiet of the night. He was still for a moment before padding in further, approaching carefully. Are you all right, Foggy Step? He kept his voice to a whisper. Alhart knew that he technically shouldn't be speaking during his vigil, but, well, he felt like there could be exception for checking on a clanmate. Foggy Step carefully sat up and nodded her head. I'm all right. It was just a bad dream. She chalked it up to being in a new den without the familiarity of other warriors. A bad dream? Alhart tilted his head slowly at the explanation, a frown crossing his face before he asked, "Did you want to talk about it?" Flaggy hesitated for a moment. Was it silly to have nightmares as a warrior, or as a medicine cat? It felt like an issue to be left behind in Apprentice Moons. The strangeness of it, though, lingered in her mind as she shifted her paws. It was just a dream about a small clearing, and a lush bush with red berries. They were such a strange red color. She couldn't help the pondering tone in her voice as she thought of the bush from her dream. The Tom listened patiently as Foggy Step told him about her dream, humming softly before asking, "The color was strange?" When the she cat nodded to confirm his words, Alhart thought for a moment. Well, it might have just been a nightmare, but supposedly Grousefur would have visions in his dreams. So maybe something red is important to you soon? It felt silly of him to say it out loud. The expression on Foggy Step's face must have confirmed the silliness of the thought. The dream was just a bad dream. Why did I put was all there? I have so many spelling errors that I need to go fix. Okay. The dream was just a bad dream. Nothing more. But maybe there was truth to what Alhart was saying about Grousefur. Foggy Step wasn't too sure. I suppose I can at least keep aware of anything that might be of that such color. Alhart's ear flicked before he nodded again. Either way, I'm sure things will turn out okay. Try to get some more rest. If you do need me, I'll be right outside. He dipped his head and excused himself from the den to return to his vigil of keeping watch. Foggy Step sighed as the quietness returned to the den, turning round in her nest to settle into another comfortable position. Rowan berries. Such an odd dream. And then we have this little picture I put of Foggy Step so that you guys can see what she looks like. Ignore the author note. That's for people actually reading the story. It's fine. Let's talk about Alhart. This man is good quality. He heard the gasp and came in to go check on her. He said, "Are you all right?" This is such a sweetheart right here. He's a good warrior now. Okay, let's see. I think yeah, chapter 4 is a draft, which means it's not posted. So this is gonna be our last chapter for the day. Okay, chapter 3. Everyone gather around for morning patrols. The deputy's voice echoed around the camp in the early morning, drawing warriors from their den to go gather around. Foggy Step yawned as she heard the call, slowly stretching her paws out and curling her tail before standing up from her nest. Carefully, the she-cat padded out of her den, breathing in the fresh morning air before following the familiar path through the camp, over to the spot below the tall rock for morning patrols. Mumbles of morning greetings passed from warrior to warrior before a quiet settled down as the last one took a seat. Karma grumbled before speaking up again. "All right, everyone listen up. Grass Ripple, take Torn Dusk and Silver Eye to go do hunting. Scorch Pelt and Sunny Cloud, you two will be on border patrol by the 4 trees. Darkleap, accompany Foggy Step to go get whatever extra herbs she needs. I'm sure there's still much to collect. Everyone else is free to do what they wish with their time. All right, you guys better be taking note of these names. We gotta remember all these names, guys." Augustet frowned a little at the order she was assigned. For a moment, she had forgotten that she was no longer a warrior, and thus would not be going on hunting or border patrols anymore. It left a fresh wave of disappointment as the group started to disperse. "You gonna just sit there all day?" Foggy Step was snapped out of her thoughts by Darkloop's voice, scrambling to her paws. "No, no, I'm coming. Sorry." She quickly rushed she quickly rushed to join the Tom by his side as Darkleap headed for the exit to the camp, climbing up the small slope and into the open moor. Darkleap glanced around for a moment before picking a direction and starting to walk, not doing much to guide the other. He merely glanced down at her, his eyes narrowing slightly. How in the world a blind cat was placed as her medicine cat, he couldn't understand. She couldn't even see what she was doing, and from what he had observed, she didn't even know anything of herbs. It was an absurd choice. He is a hater. He is just absolutely dunking on Foggy Step. Okay. His gaze turned forward once more as the two cats carefully made their way through the moor, asking as they passed the lookout rock. "So, what herbs do you need that Sunny Cloud and I didn't collect yesterday?" "Some juniper would be good," Foggy Step replied as she walked a few steps behind him, squinting at the ground before carefully stepping around a loose branch from a nearby shrub. Darkleap wished she had tripped on it. I am telling you, he is a hater. He is number one hater right now. Maybe then at least he could get some amusement out of being stuck on patrol with her. Instead, Darkleaf just grunted slightly at her answer. Right, I think I saw some down by the barn a few days ago. Really? That's perfect. Foggy-Step smiled at the news of the juniper not being too far. That would at least make their trip out of camp not too long. Following the warrior's lead, the pair traveled over the grassy lands towards the barn in the far distance. Soon, Foggy-Step could tell they were close, as the smell of hay and foreign creatures was one she only ever caught whiff of when she was near the barn. And as if to confirm the medicine cat's thoughts, Darkleap grumbled, should be just up ahead. Foggy-Step smiled and bounded ahead of him with a little giggle, earning a surprised call from her patrol partner as she disappeared into the bushes quickly ahead. She slowed down as the foliage thickened around her, forcing her to squint her eyes to try to get her vision to properly focus on one thing at a time. Juniper. 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 Ah! The bright red of some berries stuck out among all the green leaves, making her pause before approaching. Finally, she had found it. Oi! As the she-cat reached for it, she was suddenly tugged back up by her scruff. Hey! Foggy-Step yelped as she was let go, tumbling into the dirt before shaking her head as she carefully sat up. Are you some kind of mouse brain? Darkleap hissed at her, his tail lashing back and forth. Are you trying to kill yourself? Foggy-Step blinked in confusion before asking, what the heck are you talking about? I was just trying to get the juniper until you yanked me back. That isn't juniper, the Tom hissed at her before taking a deep breath. Foggy-Step really was the worst medicine cat. Darkleap glared at her again before explaining, Juniper isn't red in color. Those are death berries. Even one happening to get in your mouth is asking to see StarClan early. Okay, maybe he's not a total hater. Like, he still does clearly hate her, but he did save her, so he's not the worst hater. Okay. Foggy-Step paused as she realized what she had almost done, frowning deeply. I didn't know. Thank you for pulling me away. Darkleap rolled his eyes with a snort before nudging her back up with his paw. Come on, that way. I see the blue of the juniper berries ahead. He watched Foggy-Step walk ahead, eyes narrowing as he glanced back at the red berries left on the bush. After a moment, his paws found movement as Darkleap trailed after the medicine cat to make sure she didn't get into any more trouble. Then we got a little time skip here. Darkpaw glanced around the camp, noticing someone was missing. Doing a quick scan over the cats gathered for a meeting. Where was Grousefur? Someone as important as him should be here. Okay, so it looks like this is a little time skip back in time, so this is going back to when they were apprentices. Slowly, Darkpaw got up, taking a few steps back. He had already been sitting near the back of the gathered cats, so it didn't take much effort to slip away while the leader had their attention on a new warrior being made. Blinking away, the apprentice carefully made his way to the medicine den, quietly looking inside to see if Grousefur was in there. The first thing that caught his eye, though, was the bright white pelt that stuck out among all the brown and green. What are you doing in here, Foggypaw? Darkpaw asked accusingly as he padded towards her. The she-cat jumped a little, turning her head towards the sound of the voice. Darkpaw? Oi, I thought I told you not to move. The rough voice made her quickly tense back up and turn her head forward once more as the cranky old Tom padded back across the space of the den with a yellow flower in his maw. So, somebody's in the chat saying, what the We're reading warrior cats, okay? We're reading cringy warrior cats that I wrote. So we're having fun in here. Okay. The cranky old Tom padded back across the space of the den with the yellow flower in his maw. Grousefur seemed to completely disregard Darkpaw as he stopped in front of the albino apprentice. Carefully, he crushed the pale petals of the flower, holding it above the she-cat as a few drops of juice dripped in her eyes. It made Foggypaw blink to try to adjust to the feeling. As Grousefur finished squeezing the juice from the flower, he finally glanced to Darkpaw before turning his head away as he padded back across the den to drop the flower into a waste pile. Why aren't you at the meeting, Darkpaw? The Tom paused before shifting on his paws. I noticed you weren't there, Grousefur. I just came to check on you since it isn't like you to miss a meeting. And you didn't care to think that I wasn't there for a reason? Grousefur shot back a reply, his tail twitching in annoyance as he nudged the flower with his paws before crushing it down into the pile of waste. You two should get back to the meeting now. Foggypaw nodded and stood carefully. Thank you again, Grousefur. Turning, she carefully made her way out of the den to rejoin the rest of the clanmates for a meeting. Darkpaw watched Foggypaw go, his jaw clenching for a moment as he looked back to Grousefur, hesitating for a long moment before asking, what did you put in her eyes? The juice from the flower petals. What was it used for? Grousefor's ears twitched slightly at the question, his eyes narrowing before he turned to look at the apprentice once more. Why are you so nosy, eh? Questions. Always questions from all of you. Such a nuisance you apprentices are. Grasper is not into apprentices, it seems. He didn't like Swiftpaw, and now he doesn't like Darkpaw either. Okay. His tail lashed back and forth a few times as he glared at the apprentice, a huff finally escaping the tom before Grousefor turned back to his herb shell. It is celandine. It's the only thing that's helping her eyes right now. Though Grousefor knew it was failing as well. It was merely holding off the inevitable blindness that Foggy Paw would undergo. Darkpaw tensed as the medicine cat scolded at him. Frowning a little, those ears perked when Grousefor explained what the herb had been. Oh, I understand, Darkpaw nodded, thinking over the herb and its use for a moment before turning to head to the exit of the den and go back to the meeting. Oh, and Darkpaw? Grousefor glanced over his shoulder at the apprentice. Darkpaw paused, looking back to Grousefor. Yes? You might want to change the bracken leaves tucked behind your ear. They're wilting. Fern will last longer. Grousefor commented, the expression on his face slightly warmer than moments ago. Okay, so maybe he doesn't totally hate apprentices, but it's like 90% hate for apprentices. Darkpaw blinked in surprise before nodding his head, shuffling his paws again. Understood. Thank you. With a newfound smile, Darkpaw exited the den to go back to the meeting. And then we got another time skip, so it looks like we're going to be time skipping back forward to where we were in the timeline. Foggy Step carefully padded back into camp, parting ways with Darkbeak to head back to her den and carefully put the juniper berries on the shelf. That was one less thing for her to worry about now, though the moment of rest was brief as the sound of someone re-entering the den made Foggy Step turn her head, ears perked. Sorry to bother you, Foggy Step. Scorchpelt was careful as she limped into the den, grumbling as they tried to stay off her paw. The recent windstorm knocked a whole bunch of thorns from the brambles by the 4 trees, and I wasn't looking too well where I was going. This thorn got jammed in my paw. Oh, Foggy Step felt a wave of relief wash over her that the issue wasn't anything major. Nodding her head as she patted over. Let me see your paw. I could probably just pull it out for you. Scorchpelt didn't complain, sitting down and holding up one of her paws for Foggy Step to take a look at. The medicine cat squinted a little, carefully feeling the paw pad before locating the thorn that was lodged into the skin. This might sting just a little bit, Foggy Step warned. Being careful, I spelled being wrong there. Being careful as she bit onto the thorn. With a strong tug, she pulled it out, making Scorchpelt hiss a little as a bit of blood started to drip out of her paw. The warrior was quick to lick the small wound, sighing in relief. Thank you, Foggy Step. It feels much better already. Not a problem, Scorchpelt. Just try to be a bit more careful in the future. Foggy Step mumbled around the thorn that she was now holding, letting the warrior go before carrying the thorn over to a corner of her den to set it down. She'd have to take it out tomorrow and put it out of the way of anyone else stepping on it. For now, though, there was still a lot to be done. And then we got a little picture of Darkpelt here, the grumpiest guy. And like I said, chapter 4 is still a draft, so we only get the first 3 chapters today. So we're done with our reading for today. But if you guys have any stories that you want me to read that you guys wrote that we can poke a little bit of fun at, you can always comment or message me on Wattpad. As you can see, my tag is Galactic River. And I will read all your guys' stories. Hi, Skylar. I see you in the chat. I actually have my chat pulled up today. But yes, I will read any stories sent in to me as long as they are appropriate, of course. And that will be all for today's stream. So thank you guys for stopping in. I know it was a short one. Will you stay on? I can stay on. I don't know. I don't really have anything else to do today. I mean, if you guys have suggestions, I can try to find stories on Wattpad. Maybe we can go read somebody else's story. Let me see. We'll look up warrior cats. Let's see what we have. See if we can find something short. We'll do 1 to 10 parts. We'll say if it was updated this month, and we'll say it has to be completed. We'll see if we have any other stories. Let's see. Do we want to do this one? We could do Scar and ThunderClan, or we could do, let's see. I'm trying to look for one that has a time longer than like 5 minutes. Okay. All right, so here's our options. We could do Flames in the Ferns, or we could do Scar and ThunderClan. What do we feel like? I'm looking at the chat to see what we feel like reading today. That's if the chat's still. It says there's only one person in my chat, so I don't know. I don't know if they left or not. But we'll see. I'm still watching the chat. I'm still looking at the chat to see what people say. Or maybe I'll just pick a story on my own and we'll see if I find anything good. I mean this one's got 32 minutes, so we might do this 8 parts and 32 minutes. So we'll see. I'll give the chat a second to decide. I'm gonna take another water break real quick. And then maybe we'll read that. Because we have to pick another book. So we could do Scar and Thunder, we could do Flames in the Ferns, or we could do Lurking Fear. So we gotta decide which book we want to read next. Or again, if you guys have any suggestions, I can look up a suggested book and we can read that instead. I think I'm kind of leaning towards this one just because it's got a cool cover page and it's got the most time out of the three. So I think it has the most views as well. 'Cause that has 36 minutes and oh well this one has 57 minutes, but I don't know if I want to read for that long. So I think we might do Lurking Fear. Let's read the summary for it real quick. Okay. For generations, the lush forest has been a sanctuary of moss and pine, shared in fragile peace by four legendary clans. But the cycle of seasons had shattered. As the sun grows pale and the great shake begins to rattle the earth from deep below, a brutal, never-ending cold leaf descends upon Yellowstone. The snow is stacking higher than the trees, the rivers have turned to jagged glass, and the prey has vanished. Lake Star, the devoted leader of Bloom Clan, is a cat defined by his warmth and will to protect. But as the moons pass and the green never returns, his clan spirits begin to wither. Okay, so basically they're going to be in a blizzard of some sorts. I like that they call it the Great Shake. I'm assuming that's an earthquake, but like I've never heard it referred to that before, so I like that. So I think, let me see. Yeah, it's got 8 parts. Oh, but see, this is the thing. This is all just filler. The only actual chapter is that one. Hang on, let me see. I'm not gonna read this. I want to see. Let me see how long it is. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna read that because it only has one chapter, like one official chapter. So let's go. Let's see if those other two books that we were looking at. Oh, it refreshed, so it took away the books that we had and gave us new ones. Oh, you know what? We could do this one instead. Okay. Running Kit, Golden Kit, and Vol Kit are destined for a great change in the clans. Kick off the kick off to a series of epic proportions, transforming the expectation of those around him. StarClan has their wise eyes cast towards these 3 kits. How many parts does it have? Okay, dang, this got a lot. What does this say? Okay, I don't know. Maybe we put this one into our maybe pile because it's so long. Or we just read like the first 5 chapters. I think we'll do that. We'll read like the first 3 to 5 chapters, and then if we want to continue, we'll continue from there. So let's see. I think all of this is just yeah. Okay, so all of this is just going over the clan. So we'll skip to the prologue. Okay, I'm not gonna do the text to speech because I'm the one reading. Oh, and these are very short chapters. Okay. These are tiny chapters, guys, so maybe we'll get through more than 5. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. And credit to Saggy16. They're the ones who came up with the story, not me. Mine was Cursed Stars. Okay. Hurry, Hawkpath. Lionpelt is kidding. I should probably make sure this is appropriate. We'll see as we go. Leaftail yowled out of the nursery. Lionpelt lay on her side, within breathing heavily. Hawkpath raced over to the nursery with herbs in her jaws and her apprentice, Snowpaw, on her heels. Again, you guys better remember all these names. They're gonna be on the quiz. The clan started to gather outside the nursery. The whole clan is gathering. They said, we're having one kit. We gotta get the whole squad together for one kit. Okay. Lionpelt looked over her gathered kits with love and exhaustion shining in her blue eyes. Thank you, Hawkpath. You're a savior to me and my kids. How is she a savior? I mean, yeah, she helped you have your kids, but like you weren't bleeding. You didn't get attacked by a fox. Yeah, whatever. Okay. The queen told the menacing cat. Hawkpath dipped her head. I couldn't have done it without Snowpaw help me. Snowpaw is your apprentice? You're supposed to be teaching her, not her teaching you. Okay. The medicine cat, I mean, we do praise Snowpaw. Good for Snowpaw, but again, she's not the one who did all the work. The medicine cat praised her apprentice. Snowpaw blinked, embarrassed. Don't mess with them. They're very young, Leaftail warned her kids as they scampered over to Lionpelt. Spodkit and Lilykit poked their heads over Lionpelt's tail to look down at the three new members of the nursery. Spodkit purred at the sight of them. They're so cute. Did I look like that when I was born? Lilykit asked as she turned to look back at her mother. Yes, but in my opinion, you were much cuter. Leaftail teased her kit with a merow of laughter. Vineclaw rushed into the nursery. He said, we have the whole clan is sitting outside the nursery, and he said, get out of my way. I gotta go see my kids. And he's just kicking other cats out of the way. Have I missed too much? He asked his mate. Lionpelt looked at him calmly. Only the kidding, but nothing more. I haven't chosen names yet, she said. Vineclaw sighed and laid beside his mate and looked down at his new kits. He swelled with pride as he looked down at them. There was a golden tabby, a dark brown tabby with a golden foot, and the other was a dusty brown one. This poor brown kit has no gold on him. The other two, they're all shiny, super sparkly, and then we just got dusty brown kit. He stared down at them and thought for names. Okay, let's see. All right, at least this chapter's a little longer. This story is not mine. This story belongs to what is it, Sagi 16? I might be saying that wrong. But okay. Running Kit bounced out of the nursery with her. She should be called Bouncing Kit, I think, if she's bouncing out of the nursery. Running Kit bounced out of the nursery with her litter mates. They fell into the chilly wet snow with in a heap of fluff. Be careful and don't get in any cat's way, Lionpelt called their kits as she sat at the entrance of the nursery. We won't. Golden Kit, Running Kit, and Okay, so what pelt color? Because Golden Kit has to be the all gold kit. And I'm assuming Vol Kit is like the dusty brown kit, so Running Kit has to be the one with like the one gold foot. So that means Vol Kit is the outcast here. That's my guess. We won't. Golden Kit, Running Kit, and Vol Kit said in unison. They're doing the thing from like The Shining with the two twins where they're just talking at the same time, but it's three of them now. Well, Kit pounced on Running Kit as he playfully batted at her underbelly with his hind legs, claws sheathed. She let out a feigned yell of pain, being careful not to provoke any warriors in the camp. Golden Kit tackled her brother off of Running Kit. Bolden Volk, there is a lot. Oh my god, these names are too similar to each other. I'm gonna mix up Golden and Vol the whole time. Volkit knocked Golden Kit off of him. What are you doing here, Shadow Clan cat? Gold Kit spat. He spat at Volkit. I'm here to take over ThunderClan, he yelled back at her. You'll never take down ThunderClan, Golden Kit said as she pounced on him. Soon enough, they were in a tussle. Running Kit laughed at her litter mates as she watched them tussle. Her ear twitched when she heard unhappy grumbling come from the Elder's Den, and turned to see Featherpaw and Tigerpaw cleaning out old moss. Running Kit turned to her siblings. Hey, let's go see if we can help Tigerpaw and Featherpaw clean the Elder's Den. Okay, realistically, as a kid, if you saw the apprentices cleaning out the Elder Den, would you want to go do that? Because, like, in my head, I think the kids would rather be, like, playing chase or, like, playing with a moss ball, not doing chores, but maybe it's different in ThunderClan. Maybe the kids like to do chores? Okay. Where were we? She raced over to the apprentices as her brother and sister followed excitedly. Running Kit, Golden Kit, and Volkit skidded to a stop, like race cars skidding around the corner, and then they just crash into the Elder's Den. Um, where were we? Where were we? Skidded to a stop in front of Featherpaw. Can we help? Golden Kit asked first. The apprentice looked to the kits with surprise. Me too, apprentice. Why would you want to help with chores? I don't know. Sure. Can you bring all the old moss out of the den? It would help greatly. Of course we can, Volkit meowed. Thank you, Featherpaw called after them as they headed into the Elder's Den. Rain Mist, Dew Nose. That's almost the same name as the cat I gave in my story. My cat was named Dew Eyes, and this is Dew Nose, so we got two Dews now. Rain Mist, Dew Nose, and Amber Fur looked at the kits as they entered the den. What are you three doing in here? Rain Mist asked. We're here to help Featherpaw and Tigerpaw clean out the dirty moss. Running Kit meowed as she raced over. Running Kit is living up to her name. She is just zooming all over the place. Running Kit meowed as she raced over and started to claw at some of the moss together. That is kind of you. I look forward to when you're apprenticed to clean out the dirty moss. I bet you'll be better at it than Tigerpaw, Nose said jokingly. Amberfur chuckled at the comment. And then I'm assuming this is their version of a time skip, so we got a little skippy skip. A few hours had passed, and the kids had finished helping Featherpaw and Tigerpaw as much as they could. The elders had spent away the day telling them stories. I remember when I was an apprentice, I was never happy to be put on elder duty, Amberfur meowed to the kits. I'll always clean out your dirty moss for you when I'm apprenticed, Amberfur, Golden Kit declared, hopping up from where she had been laying down listening to the elders. Golden Kit is living up to their name too. So we got Running Kit, and Running Kit is just racing everywhere, zooming around. And then we got Golden Kit, who they got the little gold star sticker on their chest because they're doing all the chores. So Golden Kit is like the best kit, and then Running Kit is just zooming around. So now we got to get Volkit. Volkit has to be like a really good hunter to live up to their name too. I remember when my mother told me she had said that to an elder named Mousefur, Rain Mist meowed. She said she regretted it ever since, Rain Mist joked. Who is your mother? Running Kit asked. My mother's name was Ice Cloud, Rain Mist rasped. The kids gathered around Rain Mist with curiosity blooming in their eyes. Can you tell us more about your mother? Volkit asked. Maybe some other day. Your mother is probably worried about you three. It is getting dark. Time for sleep, Rain Mist told them. They all sighed and headed out of the den, saying their goodbyes to the elder. So these kits spent all day helping the apprentices clean out the elder's den. I don't know any kit who loves chores as much as these kits. Oh my god. Okay, we got another little time skip. The nursery was a lot less cramped ever since Spotted Paw and Lily Paw became apprentices. They had their ceremony 2 moons ago. Okay, so our current kits are 2 moons old now. And it would be 2 more moons. What? Okay. They're supposed to be 2 moons old now, I guess, but I guess they're 4 moons old because it's two more until they become apprentices. So they're 4 moons old. This timeline is confusing, but that's okay. I can't wait to be apprenticed, Volkit said as they ate some fresh kill outside. Oh my god, words. I can't wait to be apprenticed, Volkit said as they ate some fresh kill together outside the nursery. I bet the wait'll be worth it when the time comes, Golden Kit said to her brother cheerfully. Running Kit jumped to her paws as Spotted Paw and her mentor, Sandfeather, entered the camp from hunting patrol. Spotted Paw carried 2 mice in her jaws and headed to the fresh kill pile. The rest of the patrol came into camp. Okay, we got names, guys. These are going to be on the test. We got to memorize these. The patrol had Snowstrike, Tigerpaw, Foxfoot, and Ravenscar. They had a good amount of prey. Foxfoot dropped his catch onto the pile and headed to the leader's den, no doubt to report to Greystar. Okay, now we got the leader's name. The leader's Greystar. Running Kit felt something, like a strike of lightning, go through her as she saw Foxfoot enter Greystar's den. Okay, this isn't the same thing as the time skip thing, so this is just like, I don't know what this means, but she was walking behind Foxfoot in the forest. He had paused to scent the air for prey. Suddenly, a snake snapped out of the undergrowth and sunk its fangs into Foxfoot's leg. Running Kit attacked the snake and hooked it in her claws and tore it apart, ultimately killing it. She raced back over to Foxfoot as he twitched on the ground, his eyes becoming glazed over as he stared up. Okay, so is this like a vision, I'm guessing? Because, yeah, her normal sight. So this is like, so it's a vision. So, but is she a Kit in the vision? Because it says running Kit, but like if it's in her future, shouldn't she be like an apprentice? I don't know. Timelines are confusing. Well, I guess we'll find out. Running Kit gasped for air as her normal sight returned to her. Golden Kit looked to her with worry. Are you all right? Volkit asked his sister. Yes, I'm fine, Running Kit answered, giving them reassuring looks. What was that? She asked herself. Running Kit shrugged it off. Oh, I just had a vision of my clanmate dying. Oh, but I gotta shrug it off, shake it off. It's nothing. Running Kit shrugged it off and looked back to the fresh kill pile to see Spotted Paw pick out a vole and go sit down next to her sister, Lily Paw, by the apprentice den. Running Kit, see, she's running again. Running Kit ran over to the fresh kill pile and picked out the 2 mice Spotted Paw caught and another mouse. Featherpaw looked up from the pile at Running Kit and curled her tail up in amusement. Can you carry all that? She asked. Running Kit nodded to the older she-cat as she carried them to the elder's den, leaving her litter mates to their food. The elders looked up to see Running Kit stumble into their den with her mouth full of prey. Ramus let out a meow of laughter at the clumsy Kit. Is that for us? Amberfur asked Running Kit. She gave a muffled answer. She dropped the mice and answered more clearly. Yes. Ramus stood up and picked up a mouse. Let's eat outside the den. It's a beautiful day today, she said through a mouthful of mouse. Nose sighed and picked up a mouse as well and followed Rainmist outside. Amberfur followed as well. Running Kit cheerfully followed the elders as they walked outside to eat. Running Kit sat next to Rainmist as the elders enjoyed their meal. Okay. Let's see. Chapter 2. How long is okay, chapter 2 is not too long. We'll read chapter 2. We'll read chapter 2. Sorry, excuse me. Okay. Foxfoot headed out of the camp with the border patrol composed of oh god, we got a lot more warriors we're adding to that test, guys. Foxfoot headed out of the camp with the border patrol composed of Ivyheart, Sandfeather, Darklight, Vineclaw, Shrewpaw, and Featherpaw. I know Featherpaw was mentioned. I don't think Shrewpaw was mentioned before, so he might be a new apprentice unless I just wasn't paying enough attention. Running Kit looked around the camp to see everything was peaceful. She didn't realize the elders went inside their den. She just calmly watched over the camp as though she was an elder herself. You have calmness that's uncommon in such a young cat, a voice said next to her. Running Kit jumped in surprise. She looked up to see Graystar standing next to her. Okay, the leader's here now, the leaders. She blinked at him. I I um I just like to watch the peacefulness of the camp, Running Kit awkwardly explained. He nodded and looked to the camp. I also like to see ThunderClan at peace, he said wistfully. Graystar looked back to her. May I join you, he asked. Running Kit nodded. He sat next to her, and they both watched the camp as time passed. The border patrol returned when the sun was setting. Okay, why is the Kit awake so late? Shouldn't Where's the Kit's mom at? This Kit should be asleep if the border patrol's returning at night. Okay. Um the border patrol returned when the sun was setting. Foxfoot nodded to Graystar and headed over to the fresh kill pile. The other warriors either did the same or went to sleep in the warriors' den. Running Kit, time to. Okay, there's the Kit's mom. We found the Kit's mom. It's alright. Running Kit, time to come in, Lion Pelt called. Running Kit got to her paws and looked to Graystar. Thanks for sitting with me, Graystar. Good night. He nodded and stood up himself and headed to his den. Running Kit raced over to the nursery and was greeted by her littermates. Again, she is zooming. She or he. I can't remember what their gender is. I'm gonna call him a she for now. She is zooming full speed to the den, and she's just gonna crash into her littermates full speed. Like, put some brakes on Running Kit. They need to slow down. Wow, I can't believe you got to talk with Graystar, Golden Kit said in awe. Volkit playfully cuffed his sister's ear. Okay, so Running Kit is a girl. He acted like no one is allowed to speak to him. Golden Kit's hair stood up a little in frustration. I know that. It's just you don't see him talking to everyone in camp all the time, she explained in an irritated tone. Golden Kit is getting jealous now. Remember, Golden Kit has the shiny star. They're number one in the class, and they're like, "Why don't I get to talk to the leader, but my sister does?" Um, she explained in an irritated tone. Lionfelt herded her kids to her side for bed. "You can argue about this in the morning. You all need some rest," Lionfelt instructed. "Yes, Mom," the kids said in unison. Running Kit and Golden Kit curled up next to each other. Volkit slipped into place between them and their mother and fell asleep. And then we got another little time skip. Running Kit cracked her eyes open as sunlight shone into the nursery. Golden Kit stirred next to her. Volkit was still asleep. Golden Kit raised her head sleepily and let out a yawn. Running Kit sneezed, achoo, and then she sneezed again, achoo, double sneeze. Running Kit wiped a paw over her nose to stop it. Lion Pet watched her daughter with worry in her eyes. "You should go to Hawk Path and make sure it isn't something serious." Again, Lion Pelt, you are their mom. Why don't you take your kit yourself and take her over there instead of just sending her on her way? I mean, I know it's in camp, but again, mother, do your job. Running Kit nodded and headed out of the nursery. She walked through the thin layer of morning dew to the medicine cat den. She walked through the hanging brambles and saw Hawk Path in the herb store. "Hi, Hawk Path," Running Kit said to the medicine cat. Hawk Path turned and walked over the store to greet the kit. "Hello, Running Kit. Is something wrong?" she asked in concern. Running Kit nodded awkwardly. "I was sneezing earlier. Lionpelt, shouldn't you say like you're my mom or something instead of calling her whatever? Lionpelt wanted me to get you to check on me for any sickness," she explained. Hawkpath nodded slowly. "Just sneezing?" she asked. "Yes," Running Kit answered. "Well, since it is changing from leaf bare to new leaf, you're probably trying to get used to the more drier air. But I'll give you something just in case," Hawkpath said. The medicine cat went back into the herb store and came back out with a berry in her mouth. She placed it in front of Running Kit. "Eat this and you'll be just fine," Hawkpath instructed. Running Kit leaned down and ate the berry. It tasted strange. She shrugged it off as a medicine cat thing and lifted her head back up. "Thanks, Hawkpath." Hawkpath nodded as Running Kit left the den. "Running Kit, come here," Lionpaw called for her kit. Running Kit raced to her mother and littermates. Again, sprinting, full speed. This kit has no brakes. No brakes whatsoever. Okay, let's see. How long is chapter 3? Okay, chapter 3 is also a decent chunk. I think, how long has this stream gone on for? I have no idea. Because I don't want it to go on too long. Let me see. Let me see if I can check how long I've been streaming for. We've been streaming for an hour and 7 minutes. Oh my god. Okay. So we're going on a decent chunk here. Maybe we'll do like, I want to say 1 to 3 more chapters. We're gonna read chapter 3, maybe chapter 4, and maybe chapter 5. We'll see how long they are. "All cats old enough to catch their own prey gather here beneath the high ledge for a clan meeting," Greystar yelled. Running Kit, Volkit, and Golden Kit excitedly raced out of the nursery, their fur groomed neatly. As they no, they walked slower and more controlled as they approached the high ledge as the clan gathered. Lionpelt followed. The littermates stopped and sat on the inside edge of the gathered clan. Lionpelt took a seat next to Vineclaw behind them. Vineclaw is their dad, if I remember correctly. "Today, we join you to witness the making of 2 warriors." Tigerpaw stepped forward. Tigerpaw walked out of the crowd and to stand below the high ledge. Greystar stared down at him. Snowstrike, do you believe Tigerpaw is ready to become a warrior?" Snowstrike looked to her leader. "I have no doubt." Greystar nodded and looked back to Tigerpaw. "Do you promise to uphold the warrior code and protect your clanmates even at the cost of your life?" "I do," Tigerpaw said calmly. "Then I hope StarClan approves my choice. Tigerpaw, from this day forward, you will be known as Tigertooth. May StarClan light your path. Tigertooth, Tigertooth, Tigertooth." The clan cheered his new warrior name. He stood with pride as he walked back to sit in the crowd. "The second apprentice to be made a warrior is Featherpaw," Greystar announced. Featherpaw stepped forward. "Featherpaw, you have proven that you will care and protect for your clan. Do you promise to uphold the warrior code and protect your clan even at the cost of your life?" Greystar asked. I wouldn't want to join StarClan in any other way. That is a great answer. I have never heard an apprentice be like, I am ready to die today. Then from now on, you will be known as Featherwind. Also, great warrior name. I love that. May StarClan light your path. Featherwind, Featherwind, Featherwind. The clan cheered for her. We also have 3 new apprentices in ThunderClan. This is a very important time in every clan's life. Running Kit, Vol Kit, and Golden Kit have reached their 6th moon, and it's time for them to become apprentices. Come forward. The 3 kits step forward. Running Kit. From this day until you receive your warrior name, you'll be called Running Paw. Running Paw! The clan cheered. StarClan, I ask that you guide this new apprentice, set her paws on the path she must follow to become a warrior. Snowstrike, you will be mentoring Running Paw. You are a loyal and fierce warrior, and I know that you will pass these. Okay, Snowstrike just got rid of her apprentice, like they just graduated, and Greystar's like, all right, you're getting another one. You're too good. Like we have to have you train all of our apprentices. Poor Snowstrike is putting all the work in. Let's see. He turned to Volkit. Volkit, from this day until you receive your warrior name, you'll be called Volpaw. Volpaw! The clan cheered. StarClan, I ask you guide this new apprentice, set his paws on the path he must follow to become a warrior. Rednose, you will mentor Volpaw. You are a cunning and skilled mentor, and I know you will pass these qualities to Volpaw. We haven't heard of Rednose before. Remember, we had that test with all the names of all the warriors who went on patrol. Rednose was not on there, so we don't know who Rednose is yet. We don't know if they're good or if they're evil. Let's see. Okay. Greystar looked to Golden Kit. Golden Kit, from this day until you receive your warrior name, you'll be called Golden Paw. Golden Paw! ThunderClan cheered. StarClan, I ask that you guide this new apprentice, set her paws on the path she must follow to become a warrior. Ivyheart, you will mentor Golden Paw. You are a kind and determined warrior. I know you'll pass these qualities on to Golden Paw. The Ivyheart was in the patrol, so we know Ivyheart is good at hunting or borders, I believe. I can't remember which one she did, but she's good. And then we got a little time skip here. Snowstrike turned to Ivyheart and Rednose as the gathered clan broke apart. Let's show them around the territory, she called to them. Ivyheart nodded in agreement. Sure, but I'm taking Volpaw on hunting patrol later, Rednose answered. Snowstrike padded to the camp entrance. Running Paw followed after her mentor. I hope I don't make myself look bad. That says Running Kit. It's supposed to be Running Paw now, I assume. I hope I don't make myself look bad, Running Paw thought to herself. They padded out of the camp entrance and into the forest. And we got another little time skip. Snowstrike, Running Paw, Ivyheart, Golden Paw, Rednose, and Volpaw came back into camp. I appreciate the effort you put into writing out every single one of those names. Oh my god. The 3 new apprentices carried prey they had caught to the fresh kill pot. And see, they're already catching prey on their first outing. These are top tier apprentices. They just got made apprentices and they're already catching prey. The littermates raced over to Lionpelt and Vineclaw, who were sharing tongues by the warrior den. Lionpelt, Vineclaw, Volpaw caught 3 mice. It's like you could see them through the trees. I told you guys! So we got Golden Paw, who has the little star on his chest because he is the #1, like, best apprentice. We got Running Paw, who's racing around, and now we got Volpaw, who is a top tier hunter. They fit all their names. They fit. It's like you could see them through the trees, Golden Paw told them with excitement. That's very impressive, especially since it was your first time out for hunting. Vineclaw agrees with me! Vineclaw agrees! Vineclaw said as he looked to his son with pride. Volpaw stood tall at his father's praise. I think we have a son who will be the greatest hunter in all of ThunderClan, Lionpelt purred. Running Paw cuffed her brother's ear playfully. If only he knew how to save prey for us to catch. Volpaw swatted at her. Golden Paw curled her tail with amusement. Volpaw, the patrol isn't going to wait any longer. Are you coming or not? Rednose called to him. This guy just got back from patrol with 3 mice on his very first patrol, and now he's getting taken out again, literally 5 minutes after he got back. Rednose called to him from the camp entrance. Yes, Volpaw yelled back. Bye, guys, he called over his shoulder as he headed over to the fern barrier to join the patrol. Volpaw is not going to catch a break at all. Okay, let's see. Chapter 4 is pretty short too, so we'll do chapter 4. I don't know about chapter 5. We'll see when I get over there how long it is, but maybe chapter 5. Okay. Running Paw stayed low to the ground as she crawled with an impressive silence towards a mouse that was stuffing under a leaf. Her and her littermates were doing their first hunting assessment. She darted forward and trapped the mouse under her golden paw. She killed the mouse with a swift bite to the neck. So, again, Running Paw, very speedy. She's never ever gonna hit the brakes. Running Paw jumped as the bush next to her rustled. Golden Paw's head popped out of the ferns. Hi, Running Paw. Sorry, I was chasing a squirrel. Have you seen it? Her sister asked, looking around excitedly. No, Running Paw answered awkwardly. Didn't she know they were being watched by their mentors? Okay, sorry. See you, Running Paw, she called as she backed up and disappeared into the undergrowth. Running Paw picked up her mouse and retraced her steps to where she had hid her vole and other mouse. Snowstrike, Red Nose, Ivy Heart, Vole Paw, Running Paw, and Golden Paw, again, all the names, pushed their way through the thorn tunnel to the entrance in the camp. Okay, so I'm assuming that's a time skip that they're done with their hunting assessment now. The littermates deposited their prey on the fresh kill pile. Running Paw went over to the high ledge and I can't talk. Oh my god. Okay, try it again. Running Paw went over to the high ledge and laid down to rest. She watched as Volpaw shyly walked over to Spotted Paw, who was eating a blackbird by the apprentice den. Running Paw curled her tail in amusement. Her brother liked Spotted Paw. She scooted closer so she could eavesdrop on the conversation. Wondering if you want to go hunting again. They just got back from hunting, and now he's going out hunting again. Let Volpaw catch a break. Oh my god. Okay, wondering if you want to go hunting with me, he said to her. Running Paw guessed he was asking if she would hunt with him. Spotted Paw purred. Sure, I'll go hunting with you. Let me finish this blackbird first. Volpaw's face immediately lit up. Okay, he said happily. He sat down next to her and waited as she finished. All right, let's go, Spotted Paw said as she got up. They headed through the thorn barrier. Finished. Okay, one other question. These are apprentices. I know they can be outside of camp, but they're just going off without their mentors, like, into the wilds. Like, what if there's like a fox or something? This is gonna end up like Swift Paw and Bright Paw, where you're just gonna get attacked and like very hurt. Okay. Did you see that? A very excited voice next to Running Paw making her jump. She turned to see Golden Paw. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I said it so loud. Golden Paw apologized. Running Paw purred to her sister. It's fine. Just startled me is all. But yeah, I did see that. Running Paw purred. Golden Paw was glowing with energy and giddiness as the sun washed over her pelt, making her fur light up. I wanted to talk to you about all cats old enough to catch their own prey gather beneath the high ledge for a clan meeting. Graystar's voice yowled over Golden Paws. I'll tell you later, the gold she-cat said as she headed over to the high ledge, her spirits still high even though she was interrupted by Graystar. She sat next to Tiger Tooth and started talking with him. He gave her an ear lick and they returned their attention to their leader. Running Paw sat down next to Snowpaw, the medicine cat apprentice. Hi, Snowpaw, Running Paw said to the white she-cat. Hi, Running Paw, she answered back politely, not taking her attention off Graystar as he stood on the high ledge with Foxfoot next to him. There was 3 other cats with him too. 2 dark brown toms, one with green eyes and one with blue. They seemed to have a female apprentice with them, according to her size compared to the 2. She was black and white with amber eyes. They smelled of Wind Clan. Alright, so we got 4. So Foxfoot has found Wind Clan and brought them over the okay. I'm seeing the plot. I was told through Dustfeather and Flamepelt that Rabbitstar wants the clans to know that an elder named Leafburn has ran away from Wind Clan. He said he wanted to tell the clans about her disappearance so they knew. Dustfeather stepped up next to Graystar. He told me he will be taking of it. Oh, talking. Okay, if I could read English, that would be great. He told me he will be talking of it more at the next gathering, he prompted. Running Paw heard dark light mumble behind her. Why is any of that our concern? Why are they here? She's just an elder. Maybe she wanted to leave her clan and go die on her own, he said lowly to Snowstrike. Snowstrike licked his ear. Even so, now we know not to attack her if we see her on ThunderClan territory. She is just an elder after all. She's bound to be confused, Snowstrike reasoned. Darklight nodded and looked back to Graystar. I like how all the cats that start with the dark as a prefix are just evil. Like, even in my story, they're just evil or rude. Darklight nodded and looked back to Greystar. Also, we have a report of snakes in the area. Foxfoot, if you wish to inform them yourself, Greystar said as he looked to his deputy. Dustfeather and Flamepelt, Dustfeather and Flamepelt and the apprentice with them took interest in the snake report. Okay, so Foxfoot is the deputy. We didn't know that before. I assumed he was just some random warrior, but no, apparently he's the deputy. Okay. Thank you, Greystar, he said and dipped his head as he walked forward to address the clan. I was patrolling with Snowstrike, Ivyheart, Featherwind, and Volpaw along the Shadow Clan border. There were many spread around the area, snake burrows. Knowing that Greenleaf is just starting, they would be coming out soon to hunt more frequently, Foxfoot said, and paused. I request that we lower the amount of patrols we send to the Shadow Clan border to risk to lower the risk of someone getting bit, Foxfoot said and glanced at Greystar for his choice. Foxfoot, you are the deputy. You do not need permission. You make the patrols. You choose where people go. Okay. Chapter 5 is kind of long, so... God, I can't stop sniffling. Jesus. Hang on, let me take a sip of water real quick. Okay. Chapter 5 is kind of long, so we're going to read Chapter 5, and then I think we'll be done with the readings for today. So this is Chapter 5. Greystar turned to his deputy. I agree. It is better we don't send as many patrols to that side of the territory. He turned to the Wind Clan cats. Tell Rabbitstar when you return to him, and be careful of snakes on your way to inform Shadow Clan. Please, take some fresh kill before you go. This is a good leader for the most part. He hasn't done anything like outwardly bad yet. But he's like, hey, I know you guys have been on a long trip, so take some of our prey. It is fine. This is a good leader. He's very caring. Um, please take some fresh kill before you go, Greystar said with hospitality in his voice. Flamepelt nodded to the ThunderClan leader. Thank you, Greystar, he said and dipped his head. Dustfeather guided his clanmates over to the fresh kill pile. They only took small amounts for themselves. And again, they're good warriors. They're not greedy. These are good people or good cats. Darklight, Rednose, Vineclaw, and Ashwing were giving them unwelcoming looks. Okay, so these are bad guys. So I know Darklight's already said like he doesn't care about the Elder dying. Rednose and he's just kind of been there. Vineclaw is the apprentice's dad. Like he should be not bad. And I don't think we've seen Ashwing yet, but maybe he's been like on a patrol or something. Snowpaw came up to them. Running Paw was going to get a blackbird from the pile so she could listen in and get something to eat at the same time. Hello, Snowpaw said kindly. I'm Snowpaw, the medicine cat apprentice. May I ask if you have any wounds or pain? She asked politely. The apprentice they had with them looked up to her. Running Paw sat down near them, not too close though. I have a pain in my paw. I'm guessing it's sore from walking so much, the Wind Clan she-cat said. Snowpaw examined her. It is sore. I could give you some traveling herbs if you like, Snowpaw suggested. Flamepelt turned to the white medicine cat. No, we're fine. Dawn-Nose and Mudpool gave Fernpaw, me, and Dustfeather some before we left camp, he stated. Snowpaw nodded in understanding. We're all right. Enjoy your food, she said, and walked to them. Snowpaw, one question. Where is your mentor at? Like, shouldn't they be the one talking to these cats? Not that it is not welcome. Like, good on you, Snowpaw, for being hospitable, or however you pronounce the word, for being friendly. But where is your mentor? Okay. Running Paw munched on her blackbird and looked up as Snowstrike walked over to her. We're going on hunting patrol, Snowstrike said. Running Paw nodded and ate the last of the blackbird before following her mentor out of the thorn barrier. Running Paw watched as Willowpaw stalked. Have we seen Willowpaw before? I don't remember Willowpaw. Running Paw watched as Willowpaw stalked a mouse that was rustling under the root of a tree. Snowstrike had brought her on hunting patrol with Willowpaw, Ashwing, Vineclaw, and Firepaw. Again, Firepaw is also new, so these must be like new kits that got made into apprentices. Running Paw stood next to the ginger apprentice as they both watched Willowpaw stalk the mouse. Running Paw leaned forward when Willowpaw was close enough to pounce on it. Willowpaw leapt up and threw her paw down on the mouse and killed it with a bite to the neck. Good job, Willowpaw, Vineclaw, her mentor praised. Willowpaw held the mouse in her jaws and smiled in their direction. Yeah, great job, Willowpaw. Firepaw congratulated her. Running Paw was about to congratulate her too, but paused when her ear twitched to the sound of scuffling. Running Paw turned toward the sound and got into a hunter's crouch. She lightly set one paw after the other as she approached the sound. She slipped under the undergrowth to see a fat dove searching under leaves for food. Running Paw crept closer to her prey. She raised her hackles and then leapt and clawed for the dove as fast as she could. Again, Running Paw very fast. Running Paw grabbed its wing in her jaw and killed it with a cut to the throat. Excellent work, Running Paw. You're becoming an amazing hunter, Snowstrike called. Let's get this prey back to camp, Vineclaw advised. Running Paw flicked her ear when Willowpaw ran up next to her as they headed to camp. Did you hear that Shrewpaw is having his warrior ceremony today? Willowpaw asked excitedly. No, I didn't. That's wonderful, Running Paw said. Willowpaw curled up her tail in happiness. I wonder what Gray Star will make his warrior name, Willowpaw wondered aloud. Well, let's get back to camp first, Willowpaw, Running Paw said. Willowpaw nodded. And then we got another little time skip. All cats old enough to catch their own prey gather here for the beneath the high ledge for a clan meeting, Graystar yelled. The clan cats came out of their dens or abandoned a meal. Why would you abandon your food? Take the food with you! Or abandoned a meal and gathered beneath the ledge. Running Paw sat next to Volpaw and Golden Paw. This is an important day for a clan. An apprentice is being made. A, bleh. An apprentice is being made a warrior. Those are the right words. Shrewpaw, come forward, Graystar instructed. Shrewpaw stepped forward with excitement and pride in his amber eyes. Shrewpaw stood in front of the crowd of cats. Shrewpaw, you have shown your capabilities as a warrior and have never been selfish and always protective of your clanmates. Heather Ear, oh, that was a hard one. My brain was not processing all the E's and R's in that. Heather Ear, do you believe Shrewpaw is ready to become a warrior? Graystar asked. I wouldn't have had him do his final assessment if I thought otherwise, Heather Ear answered. Graystar nodded his head and looked back to Shrewpaw. Shrewpaw, do you pledge to uphold the warrior code and protect your clanmates even at the cost of your life? Graystar asked. I do, Graystar, Shrewpaw swore. Then from this day you will be known as Shrewstep. May StarClan light your path, Graystar decreed. Good word, decreed. I don't see that word a lot. Shrewstep, Shrewstep. The clan cheered his new warrior name. Shrewstep bowed his head and rejoined the clan. You will be doing your warrior vigil tonight, Shrewstep. But I also have more news, Graystar added. Vineclaw has reported seeing a white cat that is intruding our territory, Graystar said. I suspect that it is the elder from Wind Clan, but if I'm wrong, it could just be a rogue. Keep your guard up, Graystar said, ending the meeting. The clan spread out and went back to their duties. Running Paw headed to the apprentice den and lay down in her nest of moss. She sighed and laid her head down and let the sweet bliss of sleep take her. Okay, one other thing. Shrewpaw or Shrewstep now, I guess. Where's Featherpaw? Because weren't they? It was Shrewpaw and Featherpaw, and then you had the three main kids, and then you had Fire Kit, and what was the other one? I forget her name. But where's Featherpaw? Does Featherpaw not get to become a warrior, or is it just in a later chapter? Did she fail her hunting assessment or something? Who knows? I demand more Featherpaw. I demand. Um, I'm laughing at this comment. Yeah, there is a lot of clan meetings, but that's okay. All right, we're gonna stop there for today. We've made it through, what is it? Yeah, we've made it through 5 chapters. How many more is there? There's 30 chapters in total. Oh my God. Okay, I don't know if we'll come back to this book or not, but maybe if we feel like if we like this story and people want to see more of this story, maybe we'll come back to it, maybe not. But this story was by Saggy 16, Saigge 16. And then we go back to and Curse Stars was by myself, known as Galactic River on Wattpad. So we will eventually read more of my story once I write more of my story. I am working on chapter 4, but I've just been really lazy lately because that's what happens when you have a job in real life. You don't have time for things. Um, and again, remember, if you guys want to have me read your stories, you can always submit them. Either like if you want to message me on Wattpad or comment on my profile on Wattpad, or just leave a comment here on YouTube and I will gladly read your guys' story. Doesn't matter if it's old, doesn't matter if it's new, doesn't matter if it's good, doesn't matter if it's bad. We have a little fun here. We poke a little fun at the stories, but it's all in good jest. And I would honestly, I would love to read some of your guys' stories. So please do send your stories in and I will read them. But for now, that is going to be all. Thank you guys for tuning in today and have a good